It started as any other quiet evening at home. The clock on the mantel ticked steadily, the fire crackled in the hearth, and the scent of my husband's favorite Earl Grey tea mingled with the faint aroma of the ginger cookies I had baked earlier. It was the kind of night we had enjoyed countless times in our 32 years of marriage, comfortable, predictable, and steeped in the kind of familiarity that can only come from decades of shared life. I was curled up on the sofa, a knitted throw over my legs, flipping absent-mindedly through a magazine. My husband Mark sat in his armchair, glasses perched on his nose as he read the latest historical novel I'd picked up for him at the library. His brow furrowed slightly, the way it always did when he was deeply engrossed in a story. I remember thinking how handsome he still looked, even with the streaks of silver in his hair and the laugh lines that framed his eyes. We were, by all accounts, a typical couple who had weathered the ups and downs of life together. We had raised 2 children, navigated careers, mourned the loss of loved ones, and celebrated countless anniversaries and milestones. Our love had evolved over the years from the fiery passion of our youth to the steady, enduring companionship of middle age. I thought I knew everything there was to know about Mark and about us, but that night, he surprised me in a way I never saw coming. "Claire," he said, setting his book down and removing his glasses. His tone was calm, but there was an intensity in his gaze that made me sit up a little straighter. "Can we talk about something?" I closed the magazine and gave him my full attention. "Of course, what's on your mind?" He hesitated for a moment, running a hand through his hair, a nervous habit I hadn't seen in years. "I've been thinking about something for a while now, and I'm not sure how to bring it up." I felt a flicker of unease. Mark wasn't one to beat around the bush. Whatever was on his mind had to be important. "You can tell me anything," I said, trying to sound reassuring even as my heart began to race. He took a deep breath, his eyes searching mine. "What if we tried something different?" "Different," I echoed, unsure of where this was going. "Something to shake things up a bit, bring a little excitement back into our lives." My mind raced through possibilities. Was he talking about travel, a new hobby, skydiving? Perhaps, but the way he was looking at me, so earnest, so vulnerable, told me this was about more than just an adventure. "Go on," I prompted gently. He shifted in his seat, clearly grappling with how to put his thoughts into words. "Finally," he said. "I've been reading and hearing about couples who explore new dynamics in their relationship, ways to deepen their connection and rediscover each other, and I was wondering if you'd ever considered something like that." I blinked, trying to process what he was saying. "Are you talking about?" My voice trailed off as I searched his face for clues. He nodded, his expression a mixture of hope and apprehension. "Yes, I'm talking about trying something unconventional, something that might help us see each other in a new light." The room seemed to grow quieter, the ticking of the clock suddenly louder than before. I'd always thought of us as open and honest with each other, but this was uncharted territory. I wasn't sure how to respond, so I did what I always do when I'm unsure. I asked questions. "What made you think about this?" I asked. Mark leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "I think it's the realization that we're not getting any younger. Life is short, Claire, and while I love what we have, I don't want us to ever stop growing or discovering new things together. I've been doing some reading and, well, it's something I thought might bring us even closer." His words hung in the air between us, and I felt a strange mix of emotions. There was curiosity, certainly, and a flicker of excitement, but there was also fear of the unknown, fear of stepping outside the comfortable bubble we'd built together. Yet beneath it all, there was an undeniable truth: I trusted Mark completely. Whatever this was, he wouldn't have brought it up if he didn't believe it could be good for us. "What exactly do you have in mind?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. He smiled a little sheepishly. "I've been reading about couples who take dance classes together, Tango, specifically. They say it's a way to connect on a deeper level, to learn to move as one and truly feel each other's energy." I thought maybe we could try that. Relief and amusement washed over me in equal measure. Of all the things I'd imagined he might suggest, tango lessons hadn't even crossed my mind. I laughed, a soft, genuine laugh that seemed to break the tension in the room. "Tango," I said, raising an eyebrow. "That's your big, unbelievable suggestion." Mark chuckled, looking a little embarrassed but also deeply relieved. "Well, it felt unbelievable to me. You know, I've got 2 left feet. I reached across the coffee table and took his hand in mine. "Mark, I think it's a wonderful idea." His face lit up with a boyish grin that made my heart swell. "Really, you're not just humoring me?" "Really," I said, "but I'll warn you now, you're going to have to keep up with me. I've always wanted to try tango." And just like that, an ordinary evening became the start of something extraordinary. Over the weeks that followed, we signed up for lessons at a local dance studio and discovered a whole new side of each other. Learning to tango wasn't just about mastering the steps, it was about learning to trust, to communicate without words, and to find joy in the simple act of moving together. There were plenty of missteps along the way, Mark stepping on my toes, me losing the rhythm, but there was also laughter, connection, and a renewed sense of partnership. By the time we danced our first full routine, I felt closer to him than I had in years. Looking back on that night, I'm grateful for Mark's courage to suggest something so outside his comfort zone. It reminded me that even after decades together, there's always more to discover about life, about love, and about each other. And while our tango journey was just one chapter in our story, it was a chapter that brought us closer and reminded us of the magic that comes from embracing the unexpected.